Good morning, student. Today I am going to teach business study for 11th class. This is my lecture number 7B, chapter 2, Forms of Business Organization. Learning objective of this chapter will be different type of firm on the basis of ownership, private sector, public sector, and joint sector. So, forms of business enterprises or organization may be classified into three broad categories. First is private sector enterprises. Second is public sector enterprises, and third is joint sector enterprises. Now, what is private sector enterprises? I am going to give you introduction. The business enterprises which are owned, controlled, and managed by private individuals are known as private sector enterprises. These enterprises work with the main motive of earning profit. Example: Reliance India Limited, Tata Company, Birla Company, Wipro, etc. are the best example of private sector. Now, public sector enterprises. The business enterprises which are owned, controlled, and managed by the central and state government are known as public sector enterprises. These enterprises work with the main motive to service. Private sector enterprises have a main motive earning profit, but public sector enterprises have main motive to provide service. For example, SAIL, GAIL, Gas Authority India Limited, Steel Authority India Limited, SAIL, LIC, etc. are the example of public sector enterprises. Now, joint sector enterprises. The business enterprises which are owned, controlled, and managed jointly by private entrepreneur and government. In these enterprises, the day-to-day management lies in the hands of private entrepreneurs, whereas government control and supervision by its member in board of director. Example: Maruti Udyog Limited, Cochin Refineries, etc. are the example of joint sector enterprises. Now we will study in private sector enterprises. Private sector enterprises. Private sector enterprises can function and run by adopting many forms of organization. First is sole proprietor. Sole proprietorship. Second is partnership. Third, joint Hindu family business. Fourth, cooperative society. And fifth, company. So now we will study one by one in this chapter about various organizations. First, now I am going to teach you sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship. What is sole proprietorship? Sole means one, single. Proprietor means owner, single owner, one owner. A business man owned, managed and controlled by a single means one individual is known as a sole proprietor organization. Now, the sole proprietor is the supreme judge of all matter pertaining to his business, subject only to general laws of land and to such special legislation as may affect his particular line of business. So, sole proprietor owned, managed, controlled by a single individual is known as a sole proprietor organization. Now, what are the features of sole proprietorship? Features of sole proprietorship. First feature is single ownership. Single ownership. The sole proprietorship firm is owned by a single individual only. I have given definition. All the capital is supplied by single individual from his own wealth or from borrowed fund. Second feature is formation and closure. Formation and closure. There are no legal formalities required to start and close sole proprietorship firm. There is no separate law governing this form of business. Only in some cases a license might be required, but otherwise forming and closing sole proprietor business is very simple. Now third feature is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. In sole proprietorship firm, the proprietors is personally liable for all the debt of the business. In case of business losses, if the business assets are not sufficient to meet all business liability, the proprietor may have to sell his personal property to pay off the liability. So it has unlimited liability. Now next point is individual risk bearing and profit receipt. Individual risk bearing and profit receipt. In sole proprietorship firm, whole risk is borne by a single individual only. The sole beneficiary of all the reward is one individual only. Likewise, if there are losses, she alone has to bear them. But when he get profit, he will also single to receive the profit. Thus, profit receipt and risk bearing is individual. Now next point is fifth number point. One man controlled. One man control. The proprietor is the sole owner of the firm and has full control over it. The ownership management lies in the hand of one person only. Some person or managers may be employed to help the owner, but ultimate control lies with the sole trader himself. Now no separate legal entity. A sole proprietor has no legal entity from that of its owner. Law makes no difference between the owner and the enterprises. Business and the owner exist together. So it can be said that no separate legal entity. Point 7. Lack of business continuity. Since business and owner are one, so death, insolvency, incapacity, etc. will have direct effect on the business. In case of death of owner, lunacy of owner, suffered by disease, etc. will be lack of business continuity. Next point is a small size. The sole proprietor firms operate on a very small scale, as all the funds are arranged by one person. Total management and control lies with one person only. A sole trader can arrange limited fund and has limited managerial ability. Therefore, the scale of operation is generally limited. Now, I am going to explain the advantage of sole proprietorship. First advantage of sole proprietorship is quick decision. In sole proprietorship firm, all the decisions are taken by the proprietor himself. He is not supposed to consult anyone and waste time. By quick decisions, immediate action can be taken, which brings flexibility of operation. There are no delay and business can quickly adapt itself to the changing environment. Now, second point is confidentiality. Confidentiality. The sole proprietor is not expected to share his secret with others. All the decisions are taken by proprietor, so it becomes easy for him to maintain secrecy and get better competitive strength. Third point is direct incentive. In sole proprietorship firm, There is direct relation between the effort and reward, which means if proprietor put extra effort, then profit increases and proprietor gets extra income. So proprietor is always motivated to work extra to get extra reward. Now fourth point is sense of accomplishment. There is a personal satisfaction involved in working for oneself. The success in business not only contributed to self-satisfaction but also instills in the individual a sense of accomplishment and confidence. Now fifth point is easy to form and dissolve. It means a sole proprietorship organization is easy to form. No legal formalities are involved in setting up this type of organization. It is not governed by any specific laws. The sole proprietor can close the business, means dissolve the business, whenever he desires without any legal formalities. It can be closed by paying back its debt. So these are the advantage of sole proprietorship. Now disadvantage of or demerit of sole proprietorship. First is limited resources. We already explained about limited resources. In sole proprietorship firm, finance is supplied by the proprietor himself from his wealth or from borrowings. There is a limit to the credit raising capacity of a single person. Now, second is limited life of business. The survival and continuity of sole proprietorship firm depend upon one person only. If the proprietor falls ill or become insolvent, then the business may come to an end. Third point is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability. I have explained in characteristics about unlimited liability. So now last point is limited managerial skill. Limited managerial skill. In sole proprietorship firm, all the activity are performed by a single individual. A single individual cannot be expert in all the field. He may be a good salesperson but not a good manager. It is difficult to find all the skill and expertise in one person, and sole proprietor generally cannot afford to appoint specialized and expert employees. The proprietor is overburdened with too many tasks, so it have limited managerial skill. Now I will meet with some new topic in next video. Thank you very much.